Welcome back, new beginners. We are New Beginnings After 40. I am Jen.
And I'm Lori.
Unfortunately, we do not have Kimberly here with us this week. She was not feeling well.
She had a rough week. The entire week we were unfortunately at our podcast convention, the podcast movement, the Gaylord. She was not feeling good with her stomach and still continued on through this recording. So she's not able to attend. She is trying to figure out what's going on. So we will have an update next week on that. But unfortunately today, it'll just be Jen and I.
We are missing you, Kimberly, and we are praying for you to feel better.
Yes, we are. All right, so let's unpack.
Yeah, let's unpack our trip.
So first I want to say, if you are a new listener, and I say a new listener because we are now on all the audio platforms.
Yay!
Yes. So wherever you like to listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, or some I've never even heard of, you can now just listen only. So that was a new thing that we found this week, which we're going to unpack. But want to start off by saying that. So if you're listening and watching on YouTube, we will try our best to make sure that our listening only not customers, that's not what I'm trying to say. Our listening only
friends.
That's a great way of saying it. We will try our best not to visually direct you because we're also on YouTube. However, if you are only on our audio listening platforms, I encourage you to also go to YouTube. You can find us on YouTube, New Beginnings After 40. Please subscribe because we would love to hear comments.
Yes.
Don't know that you can do comments on the audio versions, at least if you do. I'm new to it, so I don't know. But we love the comments.
We love the comments. They make us so excited and they help us.
Totally help us. So let's unpack how our week went.
Okay. Jen. So we have been so excited. I mean, just could not wait for it to get here. And then it got here and I didn't want to go anymore.
She did.
I was nervous and anxious and wanted to back out, but I was mostly kidding, little kidding, little not kidding, but we did it. And I am so glad that we did it.
So we started out on Monday.
Yes.
We got to the Gaylord, and if you are a listener of the show since the beginning, you know that we talked about in our girls' trips that we go to the Gaylord every summer. Have been doing that for a long time. So since we're new to this space of podcasting, we were really excited that it happens to be at the Gaylord this year. Imagine that.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. So I've been going to the Gaylord for many, many years, even outside of our girls' trips, even with my family, kiddo, dad, everybody. Stayed all over the hotel. We check in on Monday, and I was a little bit of a diva. We get in a room that I had never been in before, and it was set up. First off, it didn't even have, it did have a good view.
It had a beautiful view.
Didn't have a balcony.
Did not.
Didn't necessarily think that's why that turned me off, because we have stayed in a room before without a balcony. The bathroom, though, it was accessible. Which still wouldn't have bothered me, except for it was in one giant room. Where normally in most of the rooms at the Gaylord, they're separated by like a vanity area and then the shower and the toilet separate room. And when you have three girls trying to get ready, it would have been very complex for one room for all three of us when we were staying there for 5 days. If we were just going for the weekend, it would have been fine.
And I, at the time, was thinking, I don't see the problem, but that did make sense. After we switched and I was able to go in and shut the door, but you could still be brushing your teeth or whatever. It didn't make sense in the beginning, but it did, and I'm really glad we changed.
So that was the one thing that we started off the week. So Kimberly wasn't feeling well from the get-go. So here we go, having to get the bell guy, switch to our rooms, and we went to a completely opposite side of the hotel, which if you've never been there before, it's like a city underneath a roof. It's giant.
It is humongous.
It's humongous. So we move everything over, get our room going, a lot happier. We have a balcony. Jen is super excited because it's superhero time of the summer. And so there's going to be superheroes featured throughout. And we found out that there was a light show every evening at 9 p.m. with the superheroes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we were excited that we had a balcony. That was nice. We liked where we were positioned also because we weren't far from the convention area where the podcast movement would be going on.
We were more in the middle.
We were in the
Everything that we wanted to do, instead of being on one side, we were in the middle. I mean, it's still a bucket load of steps.
It is, and I did feel like a huge diva to my friends, even though they were like, it's fine. Well, we did have to pay a slight extra upcharge for moving. Would have liked to have it free. I did try to play the card. I come here every summer, but it didn't work.
Very nice try. You do
try.
Go every summer, but
I did try, but that's just kind of how it unfolded. So that kind of started off our bang. So we go down and the first thing you were to do is to go down and get your badge for the week, which if you're watching on YouTube, I have it actually displayed here. Super cool. It has creator, has your title of your podcast, and also a barcode that you could scan. What we didn't know until we got there and checked in, that you have this great app on your phone. And so rather than having to hand out your business cards, you could just scan the app for the person that you were talking to, and you had all their contact information.
You did. You had their bio. It talked about what their podcast was. It talked about them a little bit, and then it gave you a way to message them so that you can continue talking in the future. I think that was extremely genius.
Oh, it was completely genius. So that, and we also, if you're watching on YouTube, we got New Beginnings After 40 t-shirts made for the event. So you'll be able to see those. If you're only listening, we just got t-shirts made with our podcast name on them. We thought, could that be cheesy? We don't know. But no, because there were a ton of people who also had their podcast name on their shirts, and everybody would come up to us and ask, oh, what's your podcast about? So it was super cool.
Yes.
There. We went to orientation first, so we could kind of know what to expect since it's our first podcast movement. It was a very crowded space.
Yes. I stood off to the side in the corner, shaking a little bit, and they brought me a chair, and I was like, And then the man said, everybody talk to your neighbors, and then we're going to call people up to the front. I said, bye.
Yeah, she was not having any of that.
I took off.
So another thing they said was you need to have your elevator pitch. So they were going to break out in panels for you to have an elevator pitch. I looked at Kimberly and Jen. I was like,
So an elevator pitch is a short, concise pitch to get people to view your channel, listen to your channel. And we aren't really short and concise. So we had to really talk about it and think about it. And we came up with one.
Yeah, so I'm going to read it to you for those of you who are watching on YouTube. New Beginnings After 40 podcast is three best friends in our prime who are no longer pretending to have it all together. We are raw, loud, messy, and a little unhinged. It's like happy hour and laughter and stories, but without the bar tab. Come laugh with us each week. We put on YouTube. So that we felt like was a good, if you've been watching, then you kind of know that's kind of us in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
But it was so much pressure.
It really was to shorten it.
Yeah.
Because anytime anybody's ever asked me this whole time, it takes me a good 45 minutes to tell them what we're about.
Yeah.
So that's because I throw out the topics that we've done so far and so I can't just short and sweet it. And there you go.
Yes, we had to learn that really quick off the bat. We did still talk about, because people would still ask you what things do you cover on your podcast. Yeah. So we did have to kind of elaborate, but at least we had a quick one-liner. Well, I shouldn't say one-liner. Quick little paragraph about who we are.
We gave them the option to ask for more information or to move along.
That's right. So we start with that, and they had like a little cocktail hour after that, let's call it.
Meet and greet.
So we went and got a drink, and it was called a mango mule. The thing was awesome.
It was their mocktail drink, and I asked, can we make it not a mocktail, because that sounds really good. Mm-hmm. They said sure. It really was good, and I'm not a mule fan. I've never been a mule fan, but that was so yummy.
And they also told us during the orientation that we were in that, as we explained, a really tight room. And they said, come tomorrow, which Tuesday was basically the kickoff of everything. All the, I wouldn't say classes. Sessions, platform. There were different ones, from just people up there talking to breakout sessions to what have you. A bunch of vendors there. So they told us the next day there'll be no walls. They'll all be open. They will have these headphones that you can just grab and put on. And it was super, super cool, because each session, if they were on different stages, would tell you what color that your headset should be sent to, so you could listen to it. So you really didn't even have to get up and move around. If you were sitting somewhere, let's say you were having a conversation with somebody and you got it going, so you're like, oh no, I was supposed to be at this session at 2:00. You could just turn on your little earbuds and put them on and just listen to it. A couple times we got up to go to the restroom. Again, you could still listen to it. So that was awesome.
I thought that was really convenient and smart.
Very smart.
Because then if I did start to eyes glaze over, which is common with me, I could just push the button and start listening to another one.
Yeah.
And going to each session, I will say they had their little slideshows going, and I can see how that would be. I did get some great slides, but it was also great to just sit there and beep, beep, beep. If I didn't want to be in all of it, I could have sat in one of the corner tables and listened to the whole thing.
Yes. And so Monday night, after we got through the orientation, we had a little meet and greet. Then there was going to be a opening night little gathering. So we got dressed, and by that point, Kimberly was like, I can't. She wasn't feeling well. So Jen and I go down. I think Jen was a little nervous. We didn't know what to expect. So we go down. I'm like, you know what? We go down there again. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it's too out of space, whatever the case is, we can just come back. No pressure.
Just check it out.
We get down there, and there was a pretty good amount of people. Maybe, I don't know, 75, you want to say? Maybe. And it wasn't a tight room to get to the bar to get a drink. And the bartender was not very nice. That was the only time we encountered that.
I think she was extremely busy.
Yeah.
And it's all free drinks, so she's throwing them out. She's not, there's no time to get paid, nothing. She's just like, here's your drink, go. Here's your drink, go. Well, I didn't know what I wanted, so.
There wasn't a lot of options for Jen. I mean, for me, there was, because I can drink pretty much anything. So we get a drink. We kind of meander our way out. We meet this great girl, Emily, and she was there from Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh.
By herself. Couldn't have done that.
I could have not done that.
Traveled by herself. And so we ended up talking to her for quite some time and learning who she was and talking about ourselves. I think that made Jen feel a little bit more at ease too.
It did.
And then the light show started at 9 p.m.
I was so excited. I couldn't wait. I was bouncing, stop talking, let's watch. Because at the Gaylord, they have string lights hanging down in a square, which makes a picture when all the lights meet up. I don't know how to fully explain it. And they're all over. So you hear the music and you see the lights, and it's got Batman and Superman. It's for children. And normally I'm a giant child, but I was disappointed. I thought it would be way cooler. But then I said, I can't wait to watch it tomorrow, because it is every night at 9 p.m. So tomorrow we'll watch it from our room right there, and it'll be a different experience.
Because we were on the 8th floor. We were on the 1st floor. We were watching it Monday night. All right. And we'll follow up with that here in a bit. So then let's get into Tuesday. So we get back. We just stay, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock, not even that.
No.
And we're back in the room. We knew we had a full day on Tuesday, get down there early. Sessions kind of started at 9. I don't know that we knew we would get there at 9, but we were sure going to try. Of course, another thing that came up is we checked in our room and we realized that they don't have a Keurig machine. We bought all little pods, but they didn't have a Keurig. It was a different type of coffee maker. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to the Starbucks downstairs in the lobby and gonna, pay an arm and a leg for coffee every morning. So we get started out, we get dressed, we go down there, we get our coffee, we get on over there, and we kind of, I wouldn't say deer in a headlight, but we kind of felt that way.
We did.
We didn't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. We kind of assumed that we were like low men on the totem pole as far as the space was concerned. We knew there was a lot of people there that were higher up than we are, more experienced than we are. And we sat down to get our bearings. We decided to sit down at a table and get our bearings and just kind of drink our coffee and kind of figure out what we were going to do. We got our headphones.
Try to wake up.
Wake up.
Because the beds, I like an extremely soft bed. I want to sink halfway down when I lay down. And they were hard, so we didn't sleep as well as we were used to. I was sitting there trying to get ourselves awake.
Well, but we try to sit down at a table and we immediately get kicked out because we were not in the Pro Pass section, which is like the VIP section.
We had already sat down. We had to get up, get our stuff, and I'm looking at everybody going, sorry, wow, sorry. So sorry. You could have just let me sit here. I didn't want any of your food. I didn't want any of your drinks. Now I look silly.
It's like a scolded school child.
I've never been kicked out of a party before.
So we go and sit down in the other section, which was literally right next to it. And we sit down and there was one guy sitting at our table. And I can talk to anybody, literally. So he's sitting there. His name is Spencer. We introduce each other. His job is more of I call it like a podcast recruitment type deal. He does deal mostly with authors of books. He does a lot of those where they're doing their book tours and he books them on podcasts. So we got to talking to him. He asked us again what our podcast is about. I actually told him I'm in commercial real estate because that's what I do for my real job. And he actually said, well, maybe you could come on our show because we do a form of a podcast that does that too. And I said, okay, sure. Don't know if I'm that interesting, but okay. So we do that. And then he actually he took our contacts and he throughout the week messaged us with different people that we felt like we should connect with, which I thought was really cool. So my goal for the podcast was to find us an audio platform.
Yes.
Because we have not been on that space. There were so many to choose from there. I went into it with like knowing one that existed that I knew was going to be there. And that was like Buzz something. I can't even remember the name of it now. Anyway, there's so many of them. There were probably 6 or 7, I want to say there. We stumble across Blueberry without the E's. We have a bottle if you're watching on our table. So these two guys were amazing. Todd and Mike.
Shout out to Todd and Mike.
Huge shout out. They were hilarious. He was like, we're Blueberry without all the E's because we could not afford the E's. They were too expensive. Made us laugh. What was cool about them is they really catered to where you were in the space. So, for example, I did not know until they're talking to these guys that we did it the hard way first. Going on YouTube first instead of audio is not what most people do. Which kind of does make sense because we had to learn how to video it.
Right.
We have to have a camera. We got to have the right software. We got to have the right mics. We have to have all these things. And I told him we're on YouTube. We've been on YouTube now for 4 months. And he said, oh, I have the perfect package for you. We can literally, for $20 a month, we can literally take all of your audio files from YouTube and drag them straight into our platform that puts you out on 120 different platforms to listen to your podcast. And I'm like, sign me up. I don't have to do a thing.
And not only that, he said, bring your computer and I will help you set up. So she brought her computer back down and he sat with her and helped her set it up.
Help me set it up. And he said, I'm going to throw in 2 months free as well. I'm like, and Mike was the IT person and the brains of it all. And they've been doing this for 20 years. Mm-hmm. They've been in the business a long time. They both had podcasts as well that they had done. They would be speaking throughout. He was super nice. He kindly said he would come down. He also said he would be speaking. We went and listened to him speak. And I think he seemed like he was a little nervous. Actually, he asked us, did he do okay? We're like, he did great. One thing I learned is like he even mentioned that like I guess Spotify is like their least favorite, and I don't really still know why, other than I think it's because there are more rules to follow on Spotify with like music and that sort of thing. If you have in your background, you could risk it being taken down. It's kind of a fine line.
I know they had a backstory on their end of working the IT part, and that was a lot of the reasons. They aren't big fans,
no,
but it is one of the top ones, and they understand that. Just Put it on the bottom of their list.
So I sat down with him, and I went upstairs, got my laptop, brought it back down. I sat down with him. We set it all up, and he said, you'll need probably by tomorrow morning, it'll all be uploaded in there. And then if you want to come back down, I can show you some other things. And I'm like, yeah. So he was right. The next day I'll get into that with that. So that was Tuesday. We got that. I looked at Jen and I said, this is the whole reason, this right here, that I wanted to come.
And it's done.
And it's done.
And
like simple as can be. $20 a month. Sign me up.
Yes.
So we did that, and then we kind of watched a few of the other sessions. At one point, we ended up in the well, you know, Jen and I, we talk about, you have to go to the restroom like continuously. So we're like toddlers. So we go to the restroom at one point, and we're wearing our headphones because, you know, we're listening to stuff. But then we end up meeting a lady in the restroom, which this restroom was the biggest I had ever seen at the Gaylord. There's like 4 rows of stalls. And so we end up coming up to wash our hands, and we meet this lady's like super excited. She's like, oh, I love your shirt. Again, glad we wore a shirt. And she was like, what's your podcast about? And she was actually a speaker at the event. And we kind of told her what our podcast is about. And of course, we're super excited. I don't know if you asked her, I asked her, I'm like, would you like to subscribe to our podcast? And she's like, you know what? I don't even listen to podcasts that often, but sure, I would love to subscribe.
She said she moves around too much to sit and listen. She was very supportive.
Very supportive.
Very sweet.
Very sweet. So we got her information, and then we walked out of there. And again, then we walked out of the restroom, and then we ended up meeting another gentleman named Charlie. And he was a former federal police officer, had recently retired, had his own podcast, written his own book, which, as you know, Jen likes to write books too. So they struck up a conversation. I don't remember what city he was from. Do you?
I believe Orlando.
Oh, Orlando.
I believe it was Florida.
He didn't grow up in Orlando, but he moved to Florida. That's right. So we got to talking just about all kinds of great topics. And next thing we know, I bet we stood there an hour.
Yes.
And just talking about all kinds of stuff. We exchanged each other's information. Jen mentioned, when your book comes out, let me know.
Yes, because the pre-sale list comes out in October. So I said, put us on the pre-sale list, and we'll read it, and we'll tell people about it.
Yep. And then we went from that back in there and did a few more sessions. And then we knew that Tuesday night was the big event, the iHeartRadio party. We did not know what to expect going into it. We obviously know who iHeartRadio is. Everybody does. So we didn't know what to expect. All we knew is that they had a shuttle that was going to take us to Chicken and Pickle, which is also in Grapevine. There are several throughout the country, I think we looked at. So yes. Depending on where you're listening from, the only one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is that one, by the way, because I did look it up.
Which I have been there before and eaten there. So
we knew it was going to be there. They would shuttle us off site to and from. Buses would be coming all evening. The party, I think, was 8:30 to 11:30, so to speak.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we go back up to the room. We get dressed, decide what we're going to wear to the event, of course. Kimberly's not feeling well. Kimberly's like, y'all look amazing. Lori, you go out and you network. I'm like, okay, no pressure. I looked at Jen, and I knew this isn't Jen's thing, because she gets kind of anxietied up in a social environment. So I told Jen, I said, look, we go, if you start feeling uncomfortable, we'll leave. Simple as that. We can either get on a bus coming back, or we can take an Uber back. No pressure. Just be yourself. Let's have a good time. Let's see what we come up with. That's kind of how we work.
Yeah.
So we get on this bus, and Jen's first up thing is like, oh, this is the nicest bus I've ever been on.
It was the nicest bus I've ever been on. It was comfortable, and they had TV screens. It was huge.
Yeah, and I was like, I've been on a bus like this before. And then I remembered it was when I went to the Formula One race last year, and they had shuttles. So we get on the bus, and we get off the bus, and we're the first bus there. We didn't think we were going to be, because we thought we had already missed the first bus going out, because they kept telling you. The cool thing about our app is they would constantly tell you what sessions were about to start. You could flag the things you wanted to attend.
Yes.
And it would tell you a reminder when they're going to start.
Which was very cool.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
We get off the bus, and we don't realize until we get off the bus that the whole place is closed down for only this event, iHeartRadio event. So 100% the event only. So we wait for it to get open, and Jen was still, at that point, I think she still got a little nervous because then there's a lot of people, and she's like, ooh.
Because they didn't let us in until 8:30. So we just had to stand outside. And it was just the first bus. We could see the second bus pulling up. I'm like, people are just going to keep coming. We've got this line just to get through the gate, not even to get up to the bar or anything. And I'm like, oh, this is a bad idea.
So we get in, they let us in. We go straight to the bar. We realized that everything was 100% covered by iHeartRadio. Open bar, all the food, completely put out nicely. Just a well-organized event.
It really was.
Not that you would expect anything less from iHeartRadio, but again, this is our first experience, so we didn't know. We go first thing to the bar so we can get us a drink, and we meet a gentleman that has a podcast called, what was it called? Gen Z?
Gen Z
1986. Yes. His name is Greg. We strike up a conversation with him. That ends up moving outside. We turn out sitting outside for a bit. And those of you who live in Texas, you know how humid and hot it is. Wasn't terrible that night, thankfully.
I was sweating.
Wasn't great.
I was sweating like crazy.
He was from Kansas City. Every person that we met, nobody was here locally for the most part. There were very few people that we met locally. They were all from all parts of the United States.
It's so neat because we could discuss football teams with everybody we met.
I'm like, I'm from Kansas City. I like the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not a Dallas Cowboy fan? I am. I'm just mad at them all the time. So that was really cool. And he talked to us about some of the stories, like 1986 stories from like his podcast is about. We talked to him a little bit about ours. He kind of filled us in on some things like you really could strike up a conversation with anybody. And he even went as far as to walk over to a whole table full of ladies and then came back and like, see, that's how it's done. And I don't know if that gave Jen any motivation or not.
I said I was proud of him because there was probably 8 women sitting there and he slid right in, started shaking hands. I was like, good job. But he said they did not want to listen to his podcast.
No, and he told us the first night at the opening, we told you guys about the opening party that we went to where we met the girl Emily by herself. And so he said, I showed up to the opening party dressed like I was in high school from 1986. I had on he had short white hair, or gray hair, I should say white, short white hair, but he showed us a picture of what he wore to the event. And he had a long wig. Awesome wig, jeans with a bandana wrapped around the leg.
Like the same t-shirt outfit he showed us. This was him in high school. So he went dressed as high school him.
And then he said, no one wanted to talk to me.
He said not a single person talked to him.
That was me. I was like, we would have.
We would have.
If he would have come up and talked to us, we would have talked to him.
Like, high five.
Yeah. I told him I was super proud of him for even doing it. So he'd been doing it a long time.
Yes.
He had been doing his podcast for quite some time, but he was more on the interview side. So what we found that we met so many different people at the event that were from different parts of the podcast space. So where ours is just 3 co-hosts, chatting away about things going on in our lives. There was a bunch of people who just did interviews only. Right. That's what's his genre. There were ads representatives there. There were people that kind of helped podcasts grow to like sponsorships, all kinds of spaces there. So he was kind of disappointed because he wanted more interview type stuff. And there wasn't a whole lot of interview type topics within the podcast space while we were there. We kind of helped, like he told us about some of the interviews he did and we kind of picked his brain with that. And we talked about some of our stuff. And then we ended up moving inside because it was hot. And then we sat down at a table to get the food finally. And we met some amazing people. Jen, I want you to kind of touch on those because actually Jen kind of met these additional folks.
Well, the first one we met, I had commented on her shirt because where we have t-shirts, she had the polo with her logo on it. And she and her partner, I never got around to asking, they are 911 operators. So her podcast is about some of the crazy stuff that they have gone through. And I said immediately, oh my gosh, yes, I want to listen. I bet that is interesting. And she said, yes. And it's just going to get more interesting, wilder stories.
Yeah, she's from Austin. So we talked a little bit about that too. And we kind of just talked about our spaces. She wanted to join ours too. She liked the topics we were going with. And so that was great to just kind of talk one-on-one with a girl. Again, I know we have a lot of men on our podcast and we love that.
We do.
But I'm also about girl power because I feel like girls, especially, I didn't know this because we got started just recently in the podcast space, but apparently it used to be a man only type.
It was. It is really changing and evolving.
So I liked that.
I honestly thought podcasts were a new thing. I didn't realize they've been around for 20 years.
I didn't either, but we were proven wrong with that.
We were, and they're big. They're huge right now.
And then we met two other gentlemen that were sitting there. Andrew, who, what town was he from? I know Bill was from
Michigan.
Michigan? Okay. And he writes books. He's
Andrew. Andrew writes books. He's written 4, which of course got me talking, did you self-publish? So we talked for a while, and his podcast is about whiskey. So he goes, I know you're not going to listen to mine. I'll read your books. But no, not really a whiskey fan.
Did he say what his books were about?
Well, one of them is whiskey lore.
Oh, like
that was
going
his
around
first
to
book.
Different places and finding whiskey?
I think the podcast name is Whiskey Lore, and his first book was Whiskey Lore. So we chatted for a very long time. And by that time, I was more at ease because we're off to the side.
Yeah.
All our conversations are one-on-one. We never get into the group full of people. We're kind of just naturally having these conversations.
We were naturally having conversations. They weren't forced.
They weren't.
At one point, the other original guy we met, Greg, 1986 podcast, he was like, you want me to teach you how to get out of a conversation if you need to get out of a conversation? And I said, well, who needs to get out of a conversation? Are you trying to get out of a conversation with us? Because you've been with us all night now. And he said, no, I think she needs rescuing because she's talking to Andrew about books. I'm like, oh no, she's completely in her element. That's what she loves.
Yes.
So we don't, but he's like, all you have to say is, I need to go over here and talk to somebody else or something like that. I don't know. Eventually he wandered off. The chicken, let me just talk about the chicken. The chicken was amazing at the Chicken and Pickle. Highly recommend it. I was hoping there was someone closer to me than that one was.
Let's go ahead and just say Chicken and Pickle is chicken and pickleball.
Yes.
They have pickleball courts all around.
Yes.
So that's why the name is so odd, but it's pickleball. And they came and asked, do you want to play pickleball? Oh, no.
I was going to say, if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you will know that I was not going to be playing pickleball. I would get injured probably. So we did not play pickleball. Then we literally closed the place down. They started, it's like, okay, time to get on the bus. And Jen and I were like, wow, flew by. So I go to the restroom before getting on the bus. We get on the bus. We're halfway there, and Jen's like, I should have used the restroom before I left. We're probably at the middle of the bus. So she's like, the moment we get off this bus, we're going straight to the restroom. So the way that where it drops you off at, there is like a mountain of stairs, the steepest stairs you can imagine to climb to get to the restroom first off. We stop the bus, we get up, and we're like parting of the seas on the bus. I'm like, excuse me, she needs to use the restroom. Oh, everybody just parted ways.
They were so nice about it. When we first got there, we let everybody off the bus first.
Yes.
There's no way I was going to get in anybody's way. That's when I'm like, move out of the way. I have to go right now. And they were like, we got it. Go, go, go.
Yeah. So we get off the bus and we power walk up this huge flight of stairs, just shoot, right up to the bathroom. We're in the bathroom. She goes in my one stall, I'm in the other stall. It's not a very big bathroom. There's maybe 3 stalls in here. So we're in the bathroom and we're just talking like we're just, standing there. And she's like, you're right. I should have gone to the bathroom before I left. I'm like, yes, you're like a toddler. You have to go to the restroom. We hear this giggle. And we walk out and this girl's like, you guys are freaking hilarious. And so her name was Gabby. We started striking up a conversation in the bathroom with her. And she's like, she hands us her card. We talk about our podcast. She's in the ads side of the business, so selling ads. She's like, oh, you guys have to come out here with us. There's a lobby bar just on the other side of this restroom. which I've been to many a times, but we walk out there and there's probably 75 people standing in this small space area. Jen looks at me and I'm like, Jen, we got this. You got it. I grabbed her arm. We follow Gabby to the bar. She's like, let me buy y'all a drink. It's on the company. Let's do this. And so she gets us a drink. She starts introducing us to other people that work with her. She's from New York. I'm like, well, it's completely out of our league right now. But we start talking to them. We end up finally going and sitting down in the hotel lobby. And we're just striking up conversations left and right.
Yes.
Jen sits next to, you met Daniel at that point.
I did. Greg, after wandering off from us, found a new friend who hung out with him and got him back to the hotel safely. And then I said, oh, hi, you're taken care of. And we were hanging out with him earlier. And he's like, oh, you're friends with Greg. And that's how we got started talking. And then just hung out for the rest of the time.
Yes.
Also from New York.
So she's sitting down talking to him. And I guess Gabby had sent over a gentleman that felt like we needed to talk to that was about ad sales. She grabs me and just plops me up standing in front of him. And I didn't know what I was walking into. He starts talking to me like, what's your podcast about? What do you do? How many followers do you have? And I kind of tell him like, we're on YouTube. We just got joined on the other audio platforms here today. So we'll be out on all of them. And he's like, well, he starts continuing to talk to me. He's like, well, 100 is a good start. And I'm like, well, thank you. He goes, can I be honest with you? I said, of course. And he said, I mean, you're looking at more like 9K before you're going to get like big sponsorships. I'm like, well, we've never really been about that. So that's our place to grow, maybe.
Sure.
And he's like, no, I am not turning you off at all. I mean, you guys have a good thing. That's great for 4.5 months to have 100 followers. I mean, that's fantastic. So just keep going and just come up with good content and keep pushing along, and good things will come to you. What I loved the most about that evening was every single person that we met was so super supportive, no matter how big or small they were, whether they were. This party that we had stumbled upon in the lobby was all about advertising and sponsors. So that's where we kind of just stumbled in it. At one point, then Jen gets up because she's going to go buy a round of drinks. At that time, again, we hadn't paid for anything at this point. So she decided she was going to return the favor and go get a couple of drinks for some of the people we had met. So I ended up then talking to Daniel for a little bit longer that we had just met. And I started talking about Formula One. Imagine that. This isn't the first time that I started talking about Formula One, though. I started talking about it earlier in the day with the Blueberry guys when we got set up on audio. They all told me, wow, like he would ask me questions like, is Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes? Like, even under a rock, he's at Ferrari now. And, Max Verstappen, I was hoping is going to Mercedes, but so forth and so forth. I just keep talking and they're like, why don't you have a podcast about Formula One? And I said, because I try to do it, but it was just me, and I've been doing it with my friends now, and it's harder to do it by yourself. It really is.
Yeah.
They all kept telling me I need to do a sidebar podcast with Formula One. So for you listeners now, that's coming soon. Don't know what my title is going to be yet, but it will be coming soon.
Yes, we're excited. We are all going to switch over and follow her and her F1 content.
Yes.
We'll support her.
Yes. So I will say, I know we have some listeners on here who follow my weekly updates on the Formula One. I'll still probably do a little bit of that, but I do a full race weekend recap is my goal. Yeah. Because there are things that I will see in the podcast space of Formula One that I listen to that they didn't catch, things that I might have seen or my husband might have seen when we were watching stuff going on. So I can develop it into my own, so that I just have to get out of my shell and do it. But that these people really gave me the motivation to do that.
Yes.
So Jen comes back from the bar and she's like, oh my God, I had a panic attack. Why don't you tell the story? Because you're better at it.
Well, I was super busy. I was already nervous as can be, and I'm just kind of trying to ease my way up because there's no real line. Everybody's just standing around the bar, and I'm not going to, may I please? So I'm standing there quietly, trying to get closer and closer, and then the lights start flashing. I don't know why I did that. Their actual lights are flashing, and I say it's last call. I'm like, I just told everybody I'd get home and drink, and there's no way I can get up there. And my heart starts, and then my head starts pounding, and this lady at the bar turns around, grabs my hands, and says, "You're right here. You're right here with me. You're nowhere else. We're here together. Just look at me. Breathe. Breathe. It's just you and me." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." And I was really embarrassed, but still centered and feeling better. And then started talking. She said, "Honey, we are going to get you. Bartender, get over here." And so there was about 5 of them. I said, "Will you guys come meet my friends? They're not going to believe me when I say I made friends on my own by having a panic attack."
So she did.
I did. And they all came back to hang out in our corner. And I was just tickled.
Yes, I was so proud of her, you guys. I can't even tell you. Super, super proud of her because that was completely out of her element. She totally did meet new people, even despite of having a panic attack. But that just goes to show you, like, what support that we had at this whole day.
The whole day.
The whole day.
Everybody. It didn't matter, which I guess we've already touched on, if you were brand new starting out or have been doing it for years. Everybody was equally supportive. And I really thought they were kind of going to look down on us new beginners.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Not at all. Supportive, supportive, supportive. It is a community of people that have common goals and supporting each other. And that's what the whole movement is. But also the app, we can continue these conversations and these goals. And next year it's going to be in New York.
Yes, but some of the friends that she met at the bar trying to get the drinks work the staff, and so they work the podcast movement. It's in a different city every year. It's Marriott based, so it's going to be at a Marriott, but I don't know when it's going to come back to the Gaylord. So it's going on the road to New York next year. It was in DC, I think, last year.
Right.
So that this becomes a community. It's a safe space community.
It really is.
They all go every year. They all look forward to seeing each other. They all are supportive in where you've gone and what how you're going to get and networking. It was just really awesome to kind of talk to people and get involved in this new community.
Right. And let's go ahead and skip forward.
Yes, let's skip forward till we get back to the room.
We got back at 3:30
in the morning.
And Kimberly says, "I cannot believe you two are coming back at 3:30. I'm only going to stay an hour."
Not to mention that usually have y'all heard on this podcast that they're in bed like 9, 10 o'clock.
I am.
I had no idea. I told Jen, I am so proud of you today in general. You completely busted out of your shell. I know it was hard. We had the most amazing time.
We did. And throughout the next couple of days, we would see people and, "Hey, Daniel, hey, Paula," and they would hug us and be happy to see us. So we made connections. And we had talked about it. We had longer conversations with everybody. So we decided it was quality over quantity. The people that we met were amazing. Could we have met a whole lot more people if we hadn't spent so much time one-on-one? Sure. But we made connections. We made friends.
I think I was asked this question actually by my mom yesterday. She was asking how the trip went, what was the point of going to the podcast movement first off. And I said we didn't really know what to expect going into it. We just wanted to be a sponge and absorb whatever we needed to absorb. Of course, my goal going in was to get us on an audio platform, which I achieved. But they went above and beyond because that guy at Blueberry was messaging me on Wednesday night at 10 o'clock at night. "Hey, did you see the reason that you weren't on your current episode because it launched on Wednesday wasn't out there is because you need to make it in your playlist on YouTube." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." What kind of customer service is that? That's freaking amazing.
They are.
So that was a big thing I wanted to achieve. But what I told my mom is what I learned the most is how intentional people were with conversations. Like, I think that translates to real life. Nothing to do with podcasting. All to do with communicating with people and just, we are all living in a space together. We're all going through stuff. We come from different places. We've met people from all over the country dealing with the same issues we're all probably dealing with. No matter the age, even.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of challenges that people face. As you go along in the process of life, whatever that may be, we all have a story. We discovered even that night, late in the lobby, mingling with people, so many different stories came out of that.
Yes.
So many things that people challenge and are faced with. Gives us more places for knowing that we can continue on with topics of different things. I did, during that conversation with that ad person that evening, he was like, if you want to grow a little bit faster, you might want to hit on, politics is a huge topic amongst girls. I'm like, not having that conversation. I am that person that can talk about religion or politics with people because I am not one-sided about it. I can listen to people's views, but there's too many places for that to draw attention. I do not want to draw a line in the sand with anybody or our viewers. We all are entitled to our own opinions.
Right.
I don't want to go that place. And he said, that's fine. You don't have to. It just will take you longer maybe to get your audience. And I said, that's fine. I mean, I love where we're growing already, and I hope to build it. At no place did anybody burst our bubble. Right. Would be the best way to say it.
Not at all.
At all.
They boosted us completely.
So then on Wednesday, after our long night, we had intentions that we were going to listen to Gabby, who was going to be speaking, who drug us out of the bathroom that evening as a sponsor. We wanted to go listen to her event. I also wanted to do a couple more things with the audio platform I was trying to get set up. So we didn't make it down till later in the afternoon.
I did not make it down at all.
I did get Kimberly to come to one session.
Yes.
There. And we did have amazing food the whole time. Oh my gosh. Food was great.
Food was great.
Yes. What else do we have downloaded for her that we discovered in that?
Thursday was the final part of the convention, and that was a lot of catching up with the people we had met Monday and Tuesday and saying, hi, it was so great to meet you. Seriously, let's keep in touch. We listened to a couple more platforms, and then it was over. And one reason we go there every year is for the lazy river. It's only open on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays now.
Because school started back up.
Right. So I was a lot disappointed. It was my plan the whole time. I took 4 bathing suits because if I get bored, I just go float the lazy river. Y'all can keep networking. No, you can't. So we went and changed into our bathing suits on Thursday. It ended about 12:45. Changed into our bathing suits. We went out to the pool the hotel pool and hung out. And then we went back to the room and we started a series that was so good, The $1 Million Secret on Netflix. We binged that entire show that night. We ordered food up to the room. We were the three of us never done this before, watch a whole show. I mean, we might on our own go, hey, what episode are you on? We were all in it. We were not going to bed till that was over. So it ended at 1 a.m., but we were not going to bed till we knew how it ended. Great show. Very, very, I had anxiety. Just, whew, that was awesome.
What's great about it is Jen's not a reality TV show.
I am not at all.
I mean, how many times have you heard me and Kimberly talk about Big Brother, Bachelor, whatever? She won't watch any of that stuff. So she was like we were sucked into this show. I mean, deeply sucked into it.
Yes.
So if you have not watched it, I highly encourage you to go watch it on Netflix. So good.
It is. Very, very good.
I'm hoping they'll come out with more seasons.
I have a feeling they will. And then Friday, we did our lazy river, and it was really disappointed that Kimberly couldn't make it.
Yeah.
We were hoping at least for the girls' portion. Yeah. She was just too much pain. So just Lori and I floated the lazy river. It was very relaxing. There was not a lot of people there. Mm-hmm. We got to sit in the reserved area, which you usually have to pay for an upgrade. They said, go ahead.
Have at it.
It's not going to hurt anybody. So we did. We were fancy.
Yeah, we just floated around. I mean, at that point, we were mentally wiped. Like we were just zoning out because it takes a lot of effort we'll We went hard. It's like go home. What's the saying?
Go big or go home.
Yes, and we were that on Tuesday.
That was Tuesday. We went big.
But that was the most important day. So if we were going to do it, at least we did it on Tuesday because we could afford to miss Wednesday and Thursday as much as we did.
There was one more party Wednesday night, and I was going to try really hard to make it, but we went to dinner, and I said, no, dinner's not sitting. I just want to go back. You can go.
I didn't want to go alone, even though we have met some great people, and I could have probably gone with them. But at the same time, I had just met them the day before. I mean, so I didn't want to really go by myself. That would have been a fun event because it was dueling piano. Is that what you say?
It was.
Yeah.
Dueling
so piano. It would have been fun. And I did hear it was fun, but it's okay because we got the first night, so I was fine with that.
Right.
We got out of it what we want. Well, actually, we got way more out of it than we thought we did in just the one day.
Yes. That Tuesday was worth the entire conference package.
It really was. Really, really was. So I think Friday we just chilled at the pool, and then we did watch, I think, Fast and the Furious series that evening.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Again, ordered room service. We checked
mentally, emotionally, physically drained. I mean, all the walking.
Let's talk about fit walking. Monday and Tuesday, I had 9,200 steps on average. Then Wednesday dropped 5,200 because I only spent half the day because I said, again, y'all, we were up till 4 a.m., so we did not get up early. And then we were at the lazy river. I told Jen, we were walking in the lazy river even, and I told Jen, I was like, oh, dadgummit, I can't have my watch. I'm not getting any of this recorded. My watch is going to be like, you're lazy. You have selective energy today. And she's like, don't you wish it was like the water bottles that we have? See, on our fancy water bottles that we have, you can have an app on your phone. So like if you drink something else, like say it's liquid IV or maybe it's tea or whatever it may be, you can add it to your app.
Yes.
But why can't we do that on our watches?
Right.
Where we can add our steps.
I did steps. Without having you on, I should be able to add that.
But we did say we would lie about it.
I mean, I probably would.
Yeah.
I don't on my water app, but for the steps, because my phone shames me too often.
Yeah. It's time to stand up. You haven't done anything today.
Your move goals have been, I know. I'm very well aware. I do not need it in my face.
Nope.
Every day.
So needless to say, we did not get the podcast recorded while we were there. That was the intentions, which I wish I had known because that bag was freaking heavy with all the equipment carting around. But we decided to finally get it done today so that we could at least get it out there. Right. Wouldn't be lying. Our selective energy is pretty low. Our batteries are pretty much on red on all the fronts.
We're beat. Great time.
Yep.
Had a blast. Yep. But I'm exhausted.
Yes.
We all three, I know Kimberly and me could not wait to get home to our own beds. And I know you were excited to get home to yours because even though we all had our pillows, it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
I climbed into my bed last night and sunk down and said, I'm never leaving this bed again.
Yes. And it just your comfort of being in your surroundings. I don't know that my family really missed me all that much.
I bet they did.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. I talked to them a couple of times throughout. And so anyway, I think the moral is that like for us, it was great for us. We bursted out of the bubble. We were excited that we did. Our feedback to our listeners is I encourage you, no matter what thing you're into, doesn't have to be podcasting, whatever it is, even if it's your job that you want to get into better or a different avenue of it, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and talk to people.
Right. Find your community.
That's the biggest thing. Find your community.
It really is a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime I've thought I'm not doing so great, I don't know if we should keep going, all those thoughts would be out of my head after this week.
Yeah.
Which I really haven't had that a lot. Just laying there at night going, because I am the content creator, and sometimes I think maybe this topic's not good enough. But then it is, and I have so many more ideas, and we got more ideas. It was the best decision to go to this.
It really was. If anything, it gave us some more of the motivation to know that we are in the right place.
I will say I did get bored. I told everybody I'm going to get bored, and I would be sitting there and my eyes would glaze over and I'd go off somewhere in my head, but then just click, go somewhere else and listen to a different one. And it wasn't that it was boring. That was not the problem. It was, I would be listening, writing things down. That is really smart. And then my brain would go off somewhere else. And I wouldn't even realize that I wasn't listening until you asked me, are you bored? No. Oh, I need to pay attention. I checked out. So, and we get to listen to everything is going to be available for us to listen to. So I can, in my own space and time, listen to all the ones that I missed or rehear the ones that I didn't write down, everything. Very, very cool.
Yeah, because there was one that Jen was like, are you hearing this? And I flipped over. We were in the restroom, actually. And it was about sports broadcasting, about women in the space, actually. But Jen didn't even know it was about anything to do with sports because the woman that was speaking, she said she was so great to listen to.
Yes.
She was just completely tuned into her. And so she wants to go back and listen to the beginning because I tuned into it when she was talking about, I was like, oh, this is right up my avenue. Even though ours is not about sports, but we, like I just said earlier, I had thought about getting into the Formula One space.
Right.
And I have podcasters that I listen to in the Formula One space that I've gotten to talk to as well. I'll ask them questions like, what kind of camera are you using? What kind of audio are you using? And they're always so forthcoming with like everybody I've come across with in this space is so welcoming. No matter how large, no matter how small you are, we're just one community. So I guess the moral of the story is at this point is that I think I would love, now that we're on the audio, I don't know how the audio works as far as comments, and you really can't, I don't think. I encourage people, if you're finding us for the first time on the audio platform, I encourage you to also go to YouTube and look us up and subscribe to our channel because we love comments. And I would love more than anything for you to give us comments about things that you would like us to talk about. I'm really great about not using people's names and stories that I tell. I've got great stories that if you follow each week, that we talk about my hairdresser and her life after, 40s and divorced and dating and what that all impacts. I mention her updates, but I don't mention their names. So if you are a listener and you have something you would like us to talk about, please put it in the comments section.
We would love to know. And anything you say, whether it's good or bad, I've said this before, it all helps. We have been given comments and it does help. We are so new to this still and we're learning. And without your comments, we're not learning. We need your feedback. Best if it was positive, but we will take all of it because we really do want to continue to get better because we love you guys and we just want to keep hanging out with you every week.
Yeah, we want to keep giving you good topics to talk about. Of course, we usually share each week with our weekly updates. This was all about a weekly update.
This whole week.
But we wanted to share mostly that it's important for you to have a community, a place. So if we can be your community, happy to do that for you.
Love that.
So whatever it may be, we'll have different various topics that we'll talk about that we want to unpack as we go forward. And we look forward to sharing those with you each week.
Yes.
Yeah. So next week, Kimberly will be back.
Praying
that
she will be back. She'll be back. She'll be back.
She'll be honest. I think she just had too much. She spent the week in Florida. Then she barely was home a couple of days. And then we went into this environment. It's just too much for her. So she, hopefully we'll be good.
Yeah.
And we're back to business as usual next week.
Yes. So. All right.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for sticking with us this whole time. And remember, every day is a new beginning.
Every day is a new beginning. Bye.
Bye, guys.